Welcome to a new edition of the Neon Jazz interview series with Canadian Jazz Trumpeter, singer, and composer Rebecca Hennessy. She opened up about her latest 2020 CD, All the Little Things You Do. This project is her debut as a singer-songwriter and is being released in the profound time between the recent death of her mother and the birth of her first child. She opens up about her career and this COVID-19 world as well. Get to know her and enjoy.
Congratulations, and thanks for taking a minute out.
Of course, and just a heads up, if baby starts crying, you will definitely hear it because she's right here with me.
All right, that's cool. No worries. This shouldn't take too long, so let's go ahead and dive in. You have an album coming out during a pandemic. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, this album has been a culmination of grief and feelings of grief and love and mental health struggles, not just with my own, but in our community. And it was kind of fitting in this time of the pandemic to release this album, even though a lot of the music was written before the pandemic and recorded before the pandemic. But it was just sort of like a time to really just get this album out, in spite of the pandemic, because I believe that as artists, it's our duty to sort of keep creating, if we can, of course, mental health willing, and to keep putting it out there, keep creating and being prolific, because that's how we can help ourselves heal and maybe even the community. Yeah.
So what do you ultimately want those that purchase, download, and buy your album to feel about what you've done? What do you want them to get from this?
I want whatever the music, however it touches them, I want it to resonate with something real inside of them. And I've actually been getting feedback where people who I've never met before are really reaching out and just saying that that's actually what's happening. I think the job of art is to bring humanity together and bring we all have common experiences, and they don't have to be exactly the same, but we can sort of feel that connection. And I think that's what art can do, and that's what I hope this album does for people.
Talk to me a little bit about your beginnings in music and how jazz became your life. Where were you born and raised, and kind of your beginnings?
Sure, yeah. I was born and raised in Canada, Vancouver Island, in a town called Nanaimo, beautiful little harbor town. And I lived there till I was about 21, and started playing trumpet in early elementary school, and continued through high school, and basically started mainly playing. Trumpet's been my main instrument and my main job for years, and that's when it started. And then by the time later high school came around, I was around 16, 17, and I discovered that I really liked jazz and improvisation, and I also discovered that I liked singing as well then. But I sort of learning the trumpet and the technique and being able to build that skill was sort of all-encompassing for a bunch of years. So that was my primary focus. And then after high school, I went to college on Vancouver Island at a place called Malaspina College, now called Vancouver Island University, where they have a really great jazz program. And then from there, I moved to Toronto in 2002 to finish my degree in jazz performance. Yeah, I think singing has always been part of my music education, and this sort of album is basically me saying to the world and myself first, I'm a singer. I sing as well, and it's not separate from playing trumpet. They're coming together now. What
was the first live jazz show that you ever saw that made you think that was something you wanted to do with your life?
It must have been in Nanaimo, where I grew up, and there was a few venues where that you can go and see live jazz. There was a brief moment in time where there was this blues and jazz bar called Dizzy's in Nanaimo, where people like Hugh Fraser, who was in Victoria, and like Ross Taggart, great tenor player from Vancouver, really great musicians would come up and play at this little club. And I guess I started to get more serious when I would hear, these people play. And actually, now that I think about it, my high school band would go to Moscow, Idaho, to the Lionel Hampton Jazz Festival every other year, and that's actually where I probably got the most exposure to jazz and to sort of the education in jazz, because there was always these workshops that we go to. We'd break apart and get to choose which artists we'd like to go hear talk about their process, but the concerts were amazing. It was just such a mecca for a lot of music happening, and high school students getting exposed to all sorts of musicians. It was great.
So what do you like the best about being a musician?
What do I like the best? I like being able to basically be constantly just rediscovering what I'm trying to do. Like I'm being a detective of my own taste, and I'm trying to discover through practicing and through writing music what I'm trying to say. And it's not that I'm changing my mind. It's sort of like an unfolding flower, or peeling an onion or something like that, to sort of discover what the essence I'm trying to do. That's what I like. I like this, and I like the flexibility of basically being self-employed. I grew up in a family where my folks were self-employed, and it's challenging in a lot of ways, but it's also it's essential for my feeling of self-worth, I guess.
So when we do come back after COVID's over with, and we return to live music, you're on stage and the crowds and the audience, what do you hope we all realize about this absence of live music?
What I hope for people to remember, I don't think they've forgotten really, is that coming together and community is everything, and being with one another and supporting one another is the point. And I think through live performance and watching live performance together, we can kind of have that experience again. It's like, some kind of communion or something. It's important. I think it's healing. Yeah.
So everyone has a perception of you, your family, your friends, your fans, but you're living your life. Who do you think you are?
That's a good question. I guess I'm an artist. I'm a musician. The question is always like, what am I trying to say? That's basically my practice. What am I trying to say? And how can I be real? How can I be my most authentic self? And it is through creating, writing, playing that I can feel most at home. And whether people see me as a trumpet player, a singer, sister, a mom now, the idea is that I'm trying to just be grounded and be present with the things that arise, being a person, being a human on the planet.
Perfect. Rebecca, thank you for taking some time out for Neon Jazz. Good luck with everything. Good luck with the album and the new family, and I appreciate it.
Thank you for talking with me, and I really appreciate your support.
Thanks for listening and tuning in to another Neon Jazz interview. We give you a bit of insight into the finest players and singers in Canada, Kansas City, and spots all over the world, giving fans all that jazz. And thanks to Rebecca for her time, music, and story. If you want to hear more interviews, go to Famous Interviews with Joe Domino in the iTunes Store. Visit neonjazz at youtube.com. And for everything Neon Jazz all the time, go to the neonjazz.blogspot.com. Until next time, enjoy the jazz, my friends.
Neon Jazz.